To be othered in a land unmothered, disrespected, unaccepted, chewed up and digested, taking in all the nutrients to feed their bodies while disregarding the sacrifices you made to be saved, to be held, to belong. What does it mean to be an American?
My name is Sibe Million.
My name is Hiok Lee.
My name is Precious Lee.
My name is Andrea Vargas Moreno.
My name is Soonja Cook. In original name is Soonja Che, but we call it Che Soonja.
I am from Cali, Colombia.
Originally from Albany, California.
I was born in Korea and have been in the US for, many years now, 52 years to be exact.
I am a filmmaker, writer, director, editor, writer, poet, all of the above.
I am a photographer.
My discipline is oil painting.
I am an artist and a filmmaker.
My first love was traditional Korean dance. And that began when I was 6 years old. And it was I lived in this area where it was surrounded by a market, like an open market. And one day, friends and I were just wandering around, and I remember hearing sounds and music coming from the second floor of this building. And so I wanted to see what that was. And it led me up the stairs, and the door was cracked open, and I was able to see and hear what was going on inside. And that really triggered something in me. And that was really the beginning of how my love for Korean dance all started. And I was trying to get my mom to get lessons from the studio, but we just couldn't afford it at the time. And so it wasn't until about 3 years after we moved to the United States that I was able to take classes, and I was part of a dance group, local dance group, where we performed all across the Washington, D.C. area. And so that's what kind of stayed with me all my life. And that's what kind of brought me to where I am today.
The funny thing about growing up where I did, it's the East Bay area, very integrated, very diverse, almost celebrated for being so diverse. And I don't even think it was mainly about race as a delineation or as a categorization until maybe 3rd or 4th grade. I think a lot of the time we spent thinking about like everyone around us, which was like kind of small at the time, was equally American. It almost didn't even come up. And I feel like as we went through the education system and as we like learned more about the history of the country, history of like why our area specifically was so diverse when it had like been a place that was hotly contested, and just the fact that everyone went to that part of California going across the country, it was really interesting to note what kind of American you were around that age, maybe like 8, 9, 10.
I sat on the airplane 1974 coming to the United States. I said I would never come back in this damn country, ever. Because I was educated, but they were very judgmental, and also, what's the word? If you don't have a connection to the power or riches, that the success of going somewhere is very, very small. So I had that resentment about my country when I first came. And which is right. It's like, I had given a scholarship to the colleges, and, I had a successful careers, had children. And so it's a land of opportunities and freedoms. You can become anything you want to become. And so, yeah, that's how I feel, and I have felt a very long time. Until recently, I just have a little doubts about those things. Yeah.
The United States wasn't the only country that my parents applied to for political asylum, for safety. It was simply the one that opened its doors to us. For me, for example, I'm from South America. So technically I would be American just by default. But I think it just has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people.
I remember the first time I felt different. I was in one of those like playpen things that they usually have at the restaurants, like back in the early 90s. And I remember I was with my god sisters and my godparents, and we were inside of like the thing to go down the slide or do whatever we were doing. And it was a little girl, and she looked at me and she said, "I don't like you." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "Because you're black. I don't like you because you're black." And I just remember just like being taken aback because I was so young, and I'm just like, what does that mean? And I also remembered that in school we had learned about like Black history, and also my grandmother, who was a teacher, she had taught me about Black history. She always made sure, between her and my mother, they always made sure I read my cards, and I studied and I read my science cards. Like a lot of time was spent studying and reading the encyclopedias that she had and understanding history and understanding self. They poured that into me and made sure, even with the Mavis Beacon, learning how to type, they made sure that my education was there and that I knew the history of my people and myself. And I remember learning about George Washington Carver and all the inventors that we were learning about. And I just remember saying these things to her, and I was like, "You like peanut butter? Well, guess who made peanut butter?" And by the time I finished talking to her, she was just like, "Wow." And I don't remember the exchange afterwards, but I know that there was some sense of, okay, maybe I was wrong. And I remember talking about it, and that's the most, like, I can see it as I'm talking about it, that's the most that I remember. But that feeling, that sinking feeling of like, what? Like I've read about it and maybe knew about it, but to actually feel it, that was the very first time.
I think every day is a being an other. I think much like the concept of code switching, you do kind of float and vacillate between a range of different experiences, some inclusive, some otherized, some otherizing, implicit biases and all of that. I don't know that anyone is not an other at all times. I think that's just like a standard feeling that follows myself and most people. I think I have had clear examples of being othered, but it's almost as dangerous as it is hilarious.
I had to survive what I call diversity exclusion. Many times that bothered me, but it doesn't bother me anymore. They used to have people come up to me saying like, "If you are not American, you shouldn't work here," or "Did you come here by boat?" or that sort of thing. They used to bother me, but it's really not. I think I've become much more stronger.
I'm not going to ignore the injustice this country has against anyone they consider other. I want to acknowledge the fact that this country, like many others, is corrupt, racist, and inhumane. The crimes committed against Black people, immigrants, and the LGBTQ+ communities by white supremacists are not to be overlooked. And being able to acknowledge this instead of choosing to ignore it is a way to help make this country better for all its people, including those who seek a better, safer life.
Belong. I don't feel like that's something that I had to learn. I actually grew up outside DC where it was very multicultural, even back in the 70s. And by the time I was in high school in the 80s, I went to a school with 2,500 students. We had students from, 33 countries, and there were 30 languages spoken at the school. And so kind of thinking back, it was really cool because you'd be walking through the hallways and you hear all different languages throughout the day. And so I think in a sense, I always kind of felt I belonged. And there were quite a bit of Korean students at the time. And so, I don't know, I guess maybe the meaning of belonging may be different because of where I was and where I grew up.
I feel like this is where I belong. I have a home. I dream in English. I have a backyard that I raise my chicken. I have my children are here, and my grandchildren are here. So this is my home most of the time. But you can never take away the Korean. What is the word? Nostalgia out of me, you know. So lots of times that I live here physically, but I'm established, pretty comfortable living here, but also sometimes I miss those streams that I played and the friends that I used to have, food that I still eat food, I guess. Yeah, but I am mostly happy here. But I still have that yearning to become one of them. Yeah, so I'm kind of like in the middle. Sometimes I feel like I have no country, you know, someone between two countries. But at the same time, you have to think positive, like I have two countries, you know. So yeah, that's where I am.
I remember it was about 5 years ago around this time. We went to the African American Museum for probably the second or third time in DC. And this was before a lot of the things were removed from it. But we went, and one of the things I remember reading was that on the night that the Emancipation Proclamation was read, a group of newly freed enslaved ancestors, they sang the national anthem. And it's one thing to be derived from the DNA, to have it run through our DNA, to be part of that history in the country. But to be the ones who were in the fields, who were in the home, who were directly feeling the weight of that in this country, and to still have pride in this country, and to still celebrate and sing because now they felt like this country was theirs too, or now they felt like it was acknowledged that this country was theirs too. That is a beautifully tragic moment. It is tragic in a way of that they should have never felt that way. They should have never experienced the travesties that they experienced. But it's beautiful because even in that moment, they sang with joy and with pride. And that, if that doesn't sum up what it feels like, the craziness of what it feels like to be a Black American in this country, at least from my point of view, from my lived point of view, I don't know what else does.
I think common to a lot of 1.5 to 2 generations, second generations, there is a lot of where do I belong and self-doubt and reclaiming of self, big S, and or not at all leaning towards a culture of origin, culture of parenting. I'm sure it changes over the course of our lives. The stereotype of wanting to be the most American, that sentiment coming from parents who were immigrants and wanting to assimilate and wanting to disappear and wanting to be valid and wanting to be good, trying to pass these on to us in our experience, which was vastly different from needing to always be accepted. I think in my work, I do explore an idea of maybe how much space you can take up, or is it okay that I'm here, or how to establish your view of a place, your feel of a place, without having to ask for a permission or having to ask for validation. I think that my parents' generation was able to thrive in a way that my generation is not. And it's more interesting to note that it's a class and wealth disparity more than like cultural disparity, even though the cultural disparity underlines all of many people's experiences.
I feel that I am Colombian because I was born and raised as such, even though I wasn't physically in the country for most of my life. But the culture, morals, and life views were ingrained in me by my parents, my family, and my love for my culture. I also don't identify as American in the sense that it is used in this country. I am American by default because I was born in Colombia, South America.
I have regrets in my life that I raised 7 children, natural born 6, and 1 we adopted. It's because of my bitterness and resentment towards my motherland that I had never had inspiration to teach them about Korean language or Korean customs or anything. I just thought like, you need to learn English, you have to be in school, you have to learn the, instruments and all that. But I neglected the part that is important when I'm thinking about it right now. So I regret that part. But some reason my kids think that 50% Korean is better than non-Korean. So they kind of like initiated to learn about Korea. They're interviewing people. They love eating Korean food. So it's kind of making me feel like I'm a little bit ashamed about it. But now it's my kids are really into a lot of Korean tradition. They learn. I mean, they even contacted the people that I used to know.
I'm in this place right now that I feel like everything is on my side in a way. I guess I'm referring to Korea Fest, the event that I've been producing. And yeah, had I tried to do this, say, 20 years ago, I'm sure it wouldn't have taken off and it wouldn't be where it is today. As for my legacy, I would like to hope that this is what I leave behind. And the whole mission behind Korea Fest in Wave, actually my personal mission has been from day one when I started seeing all these people that lined up and that showed up at the event. And I'm like, I need to say something. What do I tell them? And so this is what I came up with, and that's what I've been delivering at Korea Fest every year. And the message is simple. This is the message that I deliver. And it's to those of you who are 2nd, 3rd, or 4th generation Korean Americans, and to those of you who have a parent, grandparent, or a great-grandparent of a Korean descent, and especially to those of you who have been adopted from Korea. It is my sincere hope that you leave here today with a better sense of understanding, appreciation, and pride in your heritage. And so, I don't know, over the years, I've never felt the need to change that. And still today, that truly is my personal message and my personal mission behind why I do what I do.
Siento que nuestro pueblo necesita entender que somos más fuertes unidos que separados, que hay muchas cosas que podemos hacer para poder hacer que este país sea lo que necesita ser, lo que buscamos al llegar aquí y lo que fue vendido para nosotros sobre el sueño americano, que muchos de nosotros pensamos que íbamos a llegar aquí y que iba a ser todo flores y rosas, ¿me entienden? Y creo que en este momento todas las comunidades inmigrantes o minorías en este país necesitan que estemos unidos, que podamos pelear por nuestros derechos humanos. Somos más parecidos de lo que creemos. Estamos buscando las mismas cosas.
When people have experienced my work first and then find that I'm the creator of the photographs that I've taken, I think that there's a calculation for any experience of meeting the artist. I think that maybe with photography, only because that's been my experience, it might not matter the dissonance of expectation when someone meets me, and then they know that it's me who made this work. I would just hope that they would see that there's a curiosity being flexed, that there's something that has captured my attention so much in this scene that it begs a scrutiny, it begs an interest being explored, and it begs study and respect. And yeah, it usually leads into a conversation. So it turns out okay once people recognize that we're all human.
We were talking with some of the artists that you see featured in this exhibit, and one in particular, Sibe, when we were rediscussing how to reimagine what we originally planned to do. And he mentioned something about culture and like Americanism, and we started talking about Juneteenth and July 4th and what all that means. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna celebrate Juneteenth on July 4th because what does it mean anyway? And through our conversations, we came up essentially with like, yeah, what does it mean to be American?
I think it's very important to have this type of exhibit because of not just the current climate, but everything that has been happening in this country as well as worldwide. And we needed to give a voice to those people that have been looked as other and bring in a sense of humanity, like we're all human beings. We all have we all deserve to be here.
I feel like we're all Americans because we live here and we make up what America is.
My experience of actively being American in those moments where it has held the most water is mostly about a certain kind of access.
This is where my home is. Not because I was born, not because I have everything I want like I used to dream of, but it made me who I am.
I think it was very important to be able to showcase everybody's life and journey being in this country or getting to this country and the country that they now consider home.
My first thought was, I don't know if I consider myself American. But in kind of thinking about all of this, I feel like, yes, we're all Americans in that sense, because America is made up of people from everywhere, and that's who we are. And that's who comes to Korea Fest, so that's what Korea Fest is too, is bringing Korea and America together for me.
I am very comfortable with who I am now and where I am now, and I feel like I can still progress to whatever I want to be in the future. So, yeah, being free and great opportunities and great friends.
I think that being able to be a citizen of this country has granted me an access that I think was maybe an intention of my parents, how to move through the world with like, maybe not more, but like a very specific type of access and transit. And I think being an American will always shift with global politics, but at its core, I feel like it's afforded me a vantage point that does translate into like how I interact with people and does translate in how I move through the world. But it might just be an attribute more than like a defining thing about me.
Reclaiming that American has been taken over by the United States and acknowledging that the question is not really true for people from the Americas. I have my Colombian citizenship that I was born with, as well as my US citizenship. I have never felt American in the sense that it is used here, but I believe that it is a very valid question to ask in these times when the US and that word have a bad taste in some people's mouths because of what this country stands for.
Culturally, broadly culturally, on being American is so fraught, and yet very joyous and very safe for a lot of people who are seeking citizenship, if it's just citizenship. Because I think it being American in that sense feels like a blanket of safety. And it's not anything that isn't respected or desired or sought after in other countries for the exact same reason. But I think that the marketing campaign has worked for this country, making it still a popular place to fight for that.
To be Black and American or Black American, essentially, and also have Indigenous roots in my family as well. It's especially having family members, ancestors who were enslaved, and knowing that at a time in which this country gained its revolution and the country gained its freedom 250 years ago, essentially, in its celebration, knowing that my ancestors were still considered 3/5 of a person, considered property, not essentially included in, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. And it's like the same people who wrote these things owned slaves. And those who were enslaved, I have the blood from them. So that is a really deep juxtaposition of how it feels to be a citizen of this country. Yeah, and then speaking to others who have felt othered in this country, we decided that this would be a good exhibit to do right now. Yeah.